you guys have massive amounts of alcohol and no hydration.
Well, we used to have a bunch of water. We just go through it a lot. Yeah, we drink a lot.
Oh. There's this philosophical debate in physics about whether or not H2O is water.
What? How is H2O not water?
Because technically, it like forms water when all of it comes together in these masses of H2O. But then if you took like one individual particle of H2O out, like, is that particle water? Have you guys seen the double-slit experiment?
Oh,
Yes.
with light? Is that with
with
light?
the photons.
With photons that change paths depending on if it's being viewed or not.
Yes, if it's being observed versus not observed, it'll change the pattern that it makes. So it acts as a wave when it's not being observed, which means that there's something interfering with it. Because it's single particles going through two individual slits, it should not have anything to interfere with it. But then when you stop observing it, it forms the interference pattern that you should only see in waves of light, not in individual particles being fed through two slits.
Nature is so crazy, right? It's so crazy. Like the amount that we don't understand about it. And then when you get into quantum physics, then it's like a whole different set of rules.
It's a whole nother thing.
Well, there's going to be a lot of new discoveries in the coming years through quantum research.
It's freaking crazy, actually.
With quantum computing, does that have anything to do with it?
I actually don't know very much about quantum computing. I kind of went down a rabbit hole of theoretical physics and like the philosophy of it in a sense. I don't think my brain is anywhere near the capacity to be able to actually understand the mathematics of it. But I went down this rabbit hole, and it started with a very simple question. Is math invented or discovered? What do you guys think?
Is math invented or discovered?
And it kind of ties into this question, does logic exist? Obviously, it exists in some way because our computers are quite literally created from it. But does it actually exist, or did humans invent mathematics and logic in order to make sense of something?
Yeah, I think, I mean, that's what my first thought was, is that math is invented, not discovered. It's to translate nature into a language that we can calculate and understand. Right?
Yeah, I believe that.
So you're saying that mathematics is basically another form of linguistics, where it's just how we define the world around us.
Yes, but let me first say that's from my very rudimentary understanding of what math is in general, right? To me, math is like 2 + 2 = 4. That's math, right? Like, so we go into like the really higher ends and higher levels of math. That's something I have no understanding of. So
I will pose a interesting thought experiment based off of rudimentary mathematics, like a circle. So a perfect circle cannot exist in this reality in the sense of like realism. A perfect circle can't exist. Like pi quite literally is saying that the two ends of the circle will infinitely get closer to each other, which is another thing. I don't think we can process infinity, but these 2 points will infinitely get closer to each other, but they're never going to touch. So a perfect circle cannot exist. Yet the perfect circle can exist in our minds, much like a point. The concept of a point, like a Euclidean point. A point actually only has location as a variable, but location is not something that can be measured in physical space. But the point can exist in your head.
why can't it be measured in physical space? Is it because that physical space is always changing and moving?
Because it would need a dimension, some sort of size, if you wanted to measure it in physical space, no matter how microscopic. But a point that we do a lot of basic geometry off of, that point actually cannot have anything other than location.
A point is a reference, right?
It's a reference.
It's a point in space, right?
But you can't observe it.
It's not a physical manifestation. It's a reference.
But it can exist in your head.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
So then mathematicians and physicists, they kind of have this debate over it. I watched this very interesting podcast. I will give you guys a link. But they're basically, I will do a shitty job of trying to sum it up, but they're basically talking about how in your mind, certain concepts can exist from mathematics, like Platonic solids. For all the sides of each of the sides in this shape are all equal to each other, and you can only form 5 of these shapes. You can't even imagine a 6th one. It just doesn't work. None of these solids exist in reality, like in real space. None of these solids exist.
Can you explain Platonic solids?
I will show you. Okay. So with a Platonic solid, all the sides of the polyhedron have to be congruent to each other. And there are only 5 of these shapes that you can form.
So just as like for the simplest example, a cube, right? A cube is something we all know, we all see.
Yes.
That's the most common one.
Yes.
So a cube is one of the 5 Platonic solids.
Yes.
Because it's equal on all sides.
Yep.
Okay.
And then so mathematically, these shapes, a lot of basic geometry is based off of.
So a pyramid or a tetrahedron
Yep.
is one of them.
Yep.
Okay.
And you cannot form another one. So even if you wanted to imagine it, it does not exist because you cannot imagine it. There's no 6th one. So then it begs the question, is reality in your mind enough to say that something is real? Mathematics, if it can exist in your mind versus the fact that it cannot exist in physical space, what does that really mean for realism? Well, I guess it's not realism. I guess it would be reality and not realism, because people get very obsessed with this idea of realism.
But I'm still a little bit hung up on the point, because I think I kind of understand maybe the idea of like you can imagine a point in space, but it doesn't really exist. But that space that point is referencing does exist in space.
Yes, you just cannot observe it.
Why can't you observe it?
Because for it to exist physically, for you to be able to observe it and look at it, it needs some sort of dimension. There has to be some sort of magnitude to it. But the point has no magnitude. An actual like mathematical point or Euclidean point. It has no magnitude.
Oh, okay. So we have to get on the same page here, because I'm thinking about a point as in, just like a dot, like a location.
Ah, yes, that's different.
But what she's referring to is a literal point. A point is like down to like the infinity of like no space. It's like the singularity, I guess.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
So there's like literally no dimension to it.
Yes, there's no dimension to it. It is, it's like synthetic geometry.
I get that. Yeah, because I thought you were just like saying like a point on the map. Like,
no,
there's a place there.
Of course that exists.
Okay. See, this is where you have to dumb yourself down to talk to us. Otherwise,
No.
We can get our wires crossed.
Like, I don't even think I can fully understand it, and I love that.
But the point that you even think about this stuff.
Yeah, it's been clouding my mind for a hot minute now.
Hey, cheers. Welcome back.
Thank you. But I am team math is discovered.
Discovered.
Okay.
Not the language of mathematics, but the principles of it. Like the way that the world works, how you can see fractals in like a snowflake. I think that it's...
You can only say fractals because you've learned the definition of fractal.
But you can observe, but I could call it something else, right? Like I could call it Schweppes.
Sure. But what I'm saying is that the whole idea of mathematics is that it's a reference. You're referencing something. It's for comprehension, like we were just saying. It's for definitions. It's for us to understand, for us to speak a unified language.
I think the language of mathematics is invented, but I think the framework or the concepts within it are discovered. It's just that when we discovered it, we had to give it a name.
Yeah, and I also think that mathematics, from our comprehension, is limited to our senses, based off of our definitions as humans.
But then at the same time, right, there's like, I'm thinking about like my alien example, and at the same time, there's all these scientists who obviously are way smarter than I am that claim that if ever we were to communicate with an alien race, mathematics would be the only common language we could use with them. That's why you ever see the movie Contact, Jodie Foster.
Not Jodie Foster.
Yeah, Jodie Foster.
Oh, Contact. Yes,
Contact.
yes. Sorry, I was thinking of Arrival for some reason.
Just go away. The Voyager missions, the NASA Voyager missions, Voyager 1, Voyager 2, you know how they imprinted like this disc they put music onto it. They put everything from human culture. But the language they used to imprint on was mathematics. So their idea is if ever some alien race intercepts these Voyager satellites that are the furthest thing that humans have ever sent out into space, that are still going to this day, then they would use mathematics to decode the information that's on there, hence being able to listen to human music, listen to human voices, things like that.
That makes sense because technically everything is just electricity. Everything has some form of electron emitting some sort of electromagnetic field, I guess. And then there's this whole debate about whether electrons exist, but then that's like a whole other rabbit hole because you can only observe the field. You can't really observe the physical electron. But anyways.
Yeah, that just, I can't even.
I feel like Anna is just surrounded by rabbit holes and she's like, which one should I go down next?
Yeah.
All right, which one?
Well, I've just been thinking a lot about this. Like, what is real? Because as I was doing this, so AI, right? Like, as I was learning how to code, I found the random function very interesting because you can feed the computer this function that tells it to choose, like, let's say, like a random number or like a random data set or random whatever. But it's not actually random because it's encoded. There's some sort of logic encoded into it in order for it to produce this random result. So then
it's just random to us as the observer or the user.
Yes.
To the computer, it's not random.
Yeah,
it's following a set of
it's procedural
procedures to get to that quote unquote random result.
Yeah. So then I started wondering if we're technically coding something for the computer to read and process, and I just feel like we're coded in some way. Like DNA is quite literally code.
Yeah.
But then that means nothing is random.
Is this basically the fate and destiny kind of discussion then? If nothing is ever random and everything seems to be already coded, then our lives are already on a preset track?
I don't really know if I would say it's predetermined as in like there's just this one path. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once was the movie that came the closest to how I think of the universe, I would say.
Maybe the best way to, at least in my own mind, to illustrate this idea is, so it's like kind of like choose your own adventure book, right? So there are many different outcomes that can happen, not just one, but the decision you make leads down to a set of predetermined outcomes already. You know what I'm saying? Even though there's multiple outcomes, depending on what you do or what happens around you.
Yeah, I think I started thinking about this again because so when Howie messaged me, he sent me a text. It was just like nerd. And I looked at it and I was wondering if on our chat, my message came up as like typing or something because I was quite literally in the middle of typing a message to you guys. And I was
it was weird.
It was weird. It was weird. And when things like that happen, I'm just like, is there really anything random? Because if we are electricity and we're putting out this energetic field, like even the double-slit experiment, like I wonder if it's just that the observation because of the whatever energy field, obviously I'm not some theoretical physicist, but like I wonder, like, is it possible that the energy that you're putting out there is actually just affecting it? And if that's the case, then does that mean that people can just actually be connected?
Yeah, let's bring a little more context to this because we haven't talked in months, right? Because you were in New York. We had like an Instagram message.
Yes. And then you went on some Insta
detox.
cleanse.
Yeah. And so we didn't really talk for a couple of weeks. And out of nowhere, I was literally just randomly just picked up my phone. All of a sudden, you popped up in my mind because I haven't talked to you in a while. I'm like, I wonder how she is. Literally, that's all it was, and I just wrote nerd, right? Which is just that's how we communicate with each other. And you right away within 5 milliseconds. Copy and paste, like a screenshot of your phone that you were typing a message to our group chat with you, Justin. Yeah, and writing all this shit about blood. And I'm like, wait, what? What are you talking about? It was just so random.
It was random, but then is that random? Like, I don't know. So then, wait,
it was such a coincidence. It was such a coincidence.
I mean, coincidence happens, right?
Do you believe in random? True randomness, which is just chaos.
This is where I have to kind of bifurcate the idea a little bit in terms of getting really meta about it versus random as it practically pertains to us in our lives. Just like going back to Choose Your Own Adventure book or whatever, right? Things may seem random, but not actually be random. But if they seem completely random to us and we don't really know how to control the outcome or really understand it, it might as well just be random to us. So to me, practically in my day-to-day life, yes, I do believe in random things. But I am open to the idea that these random things may not actually really truly be random. So,
you said nothing.
Huh?
You said
no,
nothing.
no. Because what is the question? Do I just like normally believe in random occurrences happening? I do, but I am also open to the idea that those occurrences might not truly actually be random. But
you just repeated nothing.
I know, but because I have no idea how it actually works and the true nature of it, then why not just let it be random to me?
Like weather. You know,
Sure.
we don't actually have a way to explain turbulence. Do you, like that blows my mind. There is no way to predict turbulence. And that kind of goes back to chaos theory, which I guess, can I show you a strange attractor?
Go ahead.
I've gone down many rabbit holes, so like the strange attractor rabbit hole is like somewhere here.
Jesus. Do you ever think about gravity? Is that a rabbit hole you go down?
Yes. I was thinking about gravity this morning and how
That's such a
Really?
weird thing to
I was
say.
actually thinking about
That's such a weird thing to say. Who the hell says that? I was thinking about gravity.
I don't think it's that weird. I honestly, I wasn't thinking about it this morning, but I think about gravity a lot.
What the fuck is wrong with you guys?
A lot. I'm always thinking
Why
about
the
gravity.
hell would you think about gravity a lot?
You tell me first.
Okay, I might not be able to get as academic about it as Anna can.
No.
But the reason why I think about gravity a lot is it illustrates a bigger reality, I think, of our understanding. Because the way us lay people understand gravity is that, it can't be disputed. It's obviously calculable. We know it exists. It's there. It's measurable. It's like so as a given, right? Yet we don't actually yet really know the true nature of gravity, and most people just assume we already do because they've learned it in school and they think. But if you ask actual scientists, they'll still. So the nature of gravity, it's the theory of gravity. And to this day, it's still the theory of gravity. It's still just the theory. And why is it the main theory? It's because it's the theory that most scientists agree upon. But in any theory, there is an understanding that this is just our current, most updated understanding of what we believe might be true about this. It has not yet been proven. Now, gravity has been proven to exist. What I'm talking about is the actual nature of gravity. What is it? How does it actually work? What is its true nature? That is still very much a theory, has never been proven, and we don't really know. Like Einstein has theories, there's been updated theories since then, but it's constantly under scrutiny, this thing. And so I think about it all the time because it's something that's so already taken for granted amongst most people, as if we so understand it and as if it's already completely like there's nothing new to learn about gravity, and it couldn't be further from the truth. And so I just apply that to like almost anything. Is like, what do we really know? If even gravity, something that's so common in our vernacular and so common in our understanding of science, is still just a theory, then like everything is up in the air, right?
We literally know like nothing.
Yeah.
So the force that holds, let's say, like, I don't know, galaxies from just being flung out into oblivion, we are essentially missing scientists guess like missing 85% of matter, which is what they call dark matter. And that matter is what would allow the calculation for why the solar systems and like the galaxies are able to stay kind of together. That mass that allows that equation to be true cannot be observed.
Yeah.
So you're literally
and it's
missing.
like most things,
Yeah.
right?
Dark energy is like a whole nother thing. So like what is pushing the universe to expand? There is that energy. There's something that is pushing this massive universe to expand into something. And we don't know what it is. And it's crazy because, so they were talking about the universe and as like a cosmic microwave. So the singularity from the Big Bang, supposedly, it blew up so fast with so much force and so intensely that if you were to observe the walls, I guess, the walls of the bounding box of our universe, it looks opaque. And so they call it this cosmic microwave. And the thing is, so scientists are saying that if you measure the temperature on one part of this spherical shape thing to like another part, it differs by, I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's less than a fraction of a degree, which is insane because you're talking about something being like, what, 13.8 billion light years away. The temperature in this room probably differs by more than that.
Yeah, from like corner to corner, right? Yeah.
And it's crazy. How can this thing be so stable in temperature? So gravity, I was thinking about gravity this morning. I also wrote this quote. It's called "Gravity is Matter's Response to Loneliness." So I think it's really funny that you think about gravity.
So why do you think about gravity? Like what's your...
Exactly why you think about it. So they're talking about gravity as this theory, and then maybe on like some quantum level, nobody really understands what gravity is. Like, is there this particle called like a graviton? Is it just nothing? Does it actually not exist? And it's just the response of these subatomic particles coming together and like congregating in masses and like forming whatever it is that we experience. Like, nobody knows if gravity exists. And I think it's insane that nobody knows if gravity exists because we have so many theories and so many fundamental things taught universally around science based on gravity. And nobody knows.
Yeah. Well, I think the differentiation is like we do know it exists. We just don't know what the nature,
is.
What
Yes.
it is, right?
Well, it's just like mathematics. This idea of something keeping us towards the ground or keeping matter towards the ground.
Yeah.
The simplest like definition. That term, that reference, that comprehensive vocabulary, vernacular is gravity.
Yeah.
Right? And whatever that formula is, because I don't know what that is, that defines gravity is how we understand it. But what is it, right?
Yeah.
It's the same idea. Like that's just what we have agreed upon.
And we can have that same debate about whether it's invented or discovered, right?
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know anything. Oh my God. Okay, so this is a strange attractor. And this is kind of like the basis of what people call chaos theory. So it's called the Lorentz attractor. This is the most famous one. There are a bunch of these. But a strange attractor is essentially the system, and it evolves over time. It was discovered in relation to weather and the unpredictability of weather.
What is...
Because is that chaos?
Can you explain chaos theory? Like, what is chaos theory?
I'm going to Google this for you
go ahead,
just
Google
in case I give you the incorrect understanding of it.
Okay, so why are you getting your master's?
I've been asked this question a lot. I actually only applied to this one program, and I found it very randomly. It's also a very new program. It's only been around for, I think we're the 5th cohort. NYU has this one program called ITP. They said that it's basically art school for engineers or engineering school for artists. And I've always thought that art and technology, these are two very universal languages, creativity and technology. And if everybody could, I guess everyone speaks these two languages. Everyone speaks these two languages, but everyone speaks it to varying degrees of fluency. And I always felt like if we're all able to help everybody increase their fluency in these two languages, I just feel like the world would get closer together. Like we could be closer together because of experiences and art's just there to make you feel less alone. And then technology as well, it brings people together. And I feel like the combination of these two things is kind of where everything is headed right now. Because I don't even know, like if I didn't have my phone, would I be the same person anymore? I don't know. Because it's so integrated into my life, right? Like this, I think one of our professors suggested that maybe we're kind of in this like post-human, oh no, he gave us a reading that suggested, but this idea that we're in this like post-humanism phase thing where everybody's kind of morphing into this cyborg or whatever. And when I first heard this, I thought, what the fuck? But the more I thought about it, I was like, if you actually took away all my electronics, I don't necessarily know if I would be the same person. I definitely wouldn't live the same way.
Yeah.
And then in that case, I guess these are all kind of integrated into our daily lives now. So when I saw this program, I was like, you know what? Yes.
That is actually a really interesting question, right? I never thought about it that way before. Is that if we went back in time, like, 10, 15 years, and there were two versions of me. One version of me got a smartphone. The other version of me never got a smartphone. I wonder how different today these two versions of me would be.
Yeah.
From each other.
You would be the same. Because you barely use your phone.
Oh yeah, Howie does say you don't reply text.
Well, so Howie would be a better example. But still, I use my phone a lot. Like just think about all the information, whether it's true information or false information, whether it's healthy information or unhealthy information that we get through our digital devices, primarily our phones. And so how much has that actually incrementally influenced us and changed us through the years? Look, it must be an insane amount, I would think.
You brought it up before, and I talked about this in the previous episode that hasn't aired yet. Well, probably aired by now if you're listening. My dopamine detox, right? So I did a dopamine detox for 7 days and literally stopped using my phone except for using WeChat to reply to work messages or like, best friends kind of thing. And that's it. And I was physically, mentally very different.
How so? Because 7 days is such a short amount of time. So I think it's really interesting that there can be an observable difference.
And I did this last on the last recording, and I'm just going to do an action for you to symbolize what I felt.
Dang!
So what I did was I basically lifted my head above my hands as if it was like peeking up from a hole, and looking up into the sky and seeing sunlight and be like, whoa, shit.
Or if you were underwater and
lift my head up and I'm like, oh, this is what it looks like above the water. Yeah, that's what it kind of felt like. And because the depth of my addiction to constant ingestion of information, literally changing, I would say, the biological landscape of my brain even. And I felt like I defragged my brain, for that week. And especially by midway through, yeah, it felt good. I started working out. I started reading. I read 4 books in a week, and I didn't read.
Oh my God.
And it just suddenly, because I was bored. Oh. I was content in boredom, and I was just living with my brain.
You must have had a lot of room to live and move around.
Oh yeah, a lot of room.
With your brain.
A lot of room. It was stretching his arms and legs.
Your brain is so small, so you
small,
have a lot of room
tiny.
to stretch out.
Yeah. It was.
In case you didn't get the joke.
You said nothing.
Yeah.
Once again. So yeah, it was a great experience that I highly recommend. So basically, what I'm trying to get at, my conclusion is life before social media, life before easy access to everything. I was a lot more philosophical with things. I had a lot more of my own point of views that were very deeply ingrained in me that I was able to just go down rabbit holes by myself. It was not like going down rabbit holes because I was ingesting content to put me down that rabbit hole. I was just constantly posing questions about life, about things and that, and just going down my own rabbit holes, coming to my own conclusions and forming my own theories and all that kind of stuff. not be influenced by constant jumping around of information that's kind of guiding the way my brain is, as opposed to me being in the driver's seat and
like using your own internal algorithm rather than
exactly
YouTube's
yeah,
algorithm.
and then I think that way my brain was putting more importance to those thoughts, and creatively I was rolling
For sure.
as well. All of a sudden, the creative juices had room to bubble and form into this beautiful cake. I don't know. It just sucks, and it pisses me off. It sucks that life, like the life we live right now, for people that have already, which is 99% of the people that have technology around them, they're already sucked in to like, just like smokers are sucked into the tobacco, drug addicts are sucked into their drugs of choice. It's a drug. The technology around us is a drug.
100%. It's all algorithmic. It's designed to make you addicted. Netflix. It's like Netflix is a data company.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I feel like honestly, it is a form of mind control. What's been going on
It is.
with this technology and stuff like that. So yeah, it's I don't know. You brought it up, this whole idea of thinking that who we are now. Who are we now? Right, with this technology connected to us, these phones, these computers, and stuff like that, and you think back in the day when we didn't have it, it's a true conversation that needs to be had.
Oh, 100%.
And it's a true, I don't know, we've talked about social media in general a lot on this show, but not until I actually did that detox that I really feel the effects.
No, it's true, because I do feel like you have to disconnect in order to reconnect. I would think about this a lot too. Like, is human nature just capitalistic? Is it like we define it as capitalism, but is that just what's natural just because we are capable of producing to excess? It always baffles me. Like, I'm looking at your bottle of water right now, but like it always baffles me how we've convinced ourselves that water should be commodified. I think it's crazy. I guess that's another reason why I started my master's. I just needed to get out of this hole, if you may.
Hamster wheel kind of thing.
Yeah, like I've been doing this for so long. I've been living this life for so long. And I feel like when you define success by society's terms, then failure and success are synonymous. And I guess in that sense, I've been failing for the better part of 3 decades. Like, I don't know. I think art is input-output. And in our world with so much technology and so much algorithmic technology being fed to us, the input is actually, we think it looks different, but it's not unique actually. The input is all kind of the same. And then you're going to create the same kind of output. Like 短剧 is something that's very crazy to me. Each episode is a minute, 2 minutes.
What is this?
Of ridiculousness.
Yes.
What are we talking about?
短剧.
短剧 is like
shorts, like short. Like
so
what is
it's
this?
series. It's a not TV. I guess it's like a web series where there's
Web
still
series,
like 50 episodes or whatever, but each episode's only about a minute or 2 minutes, and it's just like
To the point.
yeah, like
It's like right to the point.
right to the point, super action packed, and like I was watching one of them once just for, I guess, my understanding purposes, and it started with this girl and this guy, and then the girl, I think
One of them is rich.
one of them's always rich. The girl was poor, but then she
Is
like
this a very like Chinese thing in China, like, or is this worldwide?
I think it's spreading.
It's spreading. Like,
but it started here in China, more or less.
I
or-
think it started here.
I don't know. I know
You don't
China
know?
popularized
It got
for
huge
sure.
here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still is
huge. Because you can just scroll,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'll be like, oh, this girl, the guy has like HIV or something, but then they time travel in the next episode, and they go back to the beginning, and then oh, she's there to like help him restart his company, and then like
Here, let me summarize. Basically, it's the cheesiest, the most directly manipulated stories to conjure up feelings of I need to watch the next episode because the drama is so intense. Formula. So literally, if it's like a minute or 2 minute video, it's edited in a way where it's like a trailer. where a lot of the bullshit, the quiet moments are cut out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's just cutting from one thing to another. It feels like a trailer of a film.
Yeah.
And then you know how trailers have that ending where you're kind of like, oh, what's coming next?
The cliffhangers.
That cliffhanger,
Yeah.
right?
You gotta
That's how
know.
it is. And it's basically just constant,
Endless
nonstop
trailers.
dopamine hit, dopamine
Yeah.
hit, dopamine hit.
It's crazy to me.
Damn, that
Like,
sounds poisonous, man.
It's
It
very
is.
poisonous. And it's so popular. It's formulaic.
Well, everything is formulaic, but this is like a condensed, like potent,
yes.
like shot
Injection.
of it, right? And it will just train our attention spans to be even shorter.
Yes.
Our patience to be even shorter. Our expectations of these hits and dopamine hits to come quicker.
And it's always these unbelievable stories. So you kind of ridiculous stories.
Ridiculous.
Like the boss is like secretly in love with his, I don't know, secretary, but the secretary is this person.
Yeah, like the secretary
that,
might
and
be
then
his like sister or some shit.
she's,
Like,
she's
who
married
fuck
to his
knows?
brother or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
It's just
yeah.
the most dramatic, overly dramatic, like crazy, outlandish stories. But people are just sucking it up because they're just because it's an escape, right? Because
It's a soap opera.
oh yes,
Yeah.
it's totally a soap opera,
Soap opera trailers
right?
edited to the
Jeez.
max.
It's genius.
It's genius. It's fucking genius.
And it's funny because I'm talking about this as if I hate it. I've watched one by accident. I swear it's by accident.
It's like the cigarette. You can't just have one, right?
I watched it. I was on Xiaohongshu.
Oh, no.
Because I don't use TikTok. A lot of them on TikTok,
Yeah, I
right?
don't use TikTok
So I was on Xiaohongshu, and some video appeared on my screen, and it was like something with like there's a car and there's like a swipe gun, like a menu in front, and I thought it was like a new car or something like that. So I was just clicking. I'm like, what is this? Next thing you know, it's they start acting out and stuff like that, and I'm just like, oh, what is this? I swear to you, 9 minutes go by. I'm like, why am I still watching this? And then all of a sudden it ends. I'm like, where's the next? Where's the next? What happened? And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, did I just watch a 短剧? Oh shit! And it was just one of those things that I just couldn't stop. I was like, oh fuck.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I did not seek out the rest. I just said like, okay,
that's
I'm
good,
not,
that's
I'm
good,
not doing
that's
it.
good.
I don't like that. I don't like that stuff. But at the same time, like while I criticize it, I do understand now that there is a population of people, out there like, working that maybe don't have the luxury to like spend all time like watching like full length shows or movies, and they just need that entertainment as some form of escape from their day-to-day work, right? I mean, I think of like these like YMI like goods like these delivery guys, and like when I'm seeing like whenever I'm with them in the elevator, they're like on their like short ride in the elevator while delivering
something
stuff.
real quick.
They're watching something real quick, So they're like in between these like little moments, they're trying to find these like little pockets of like literally just like
Dopamine
30
hits.
seconds to watch something.
Yeah. You know what? Another thought that popped in my mind, which is sort of still in this territory subject matter. So I feel like humans, going back to your idea of human nature, people in power have always manipulated human beings. I just think that as years go by and all the way fast forwarding to today, it's just getting optimized. Do you think I'm just woo? Do you think I'm crazy or?
So this reminds me of something. Clay Shirky, so he is the vice provost for AI and technology and education at NYU. And he gave a talk and he quoted, I forgot whose quote this came from, so whatever, but pre-optimization is the root of all evil. Premature optimization, yeah. Premature optimization is the root of all evil. And I think that's really interesting because premature optimization is implying that you are basically creating a solution and looking for a problem to solve. And when you do that, you end up creating problems so that you can, this is my understanding of it, you're creating problems for your solution to solve because you created the solution first without there actually being a problem to address. And then so even with AI and things like this, like we're trying to push it all out. We want to push it all out. We want it to like roll out as fast as possible. Everyone's like, oh my God, ChatGPT, everything's gonna be amazing. Like we're gonna be able to create so much. Everybody's gonna be able to spend so much more time on like ideas. Like no, but absolutely not. But I think the best use of ChatGPT is in coding, I think, to explain lines of code to you. I think it can explain things. And because coding is a computer language, I think that's why it is. It's quite literally just explaining its own language to you. And I feel like with that, it's helpful in learning. But I don't necessarily know if it needed to be implemented into all of these different creative fields at that moment. Because by doing that, suddenly, I feel like it put a shift in the market that wasn't quite necessary yet or should not have been done like that. Because suddenly you have like I have clients working with Dolly and other whatever to create these really cringe visuals. I'm sorry if you hear this, but like really cringe visuals. And it lacks like life, it lacks that human touch, it lacks emotion, but they do it because it's fast. And now we're pushing the fast economy with this technology implemented in the creative fields. We're pushing fast, which is kind of the 短剧 rabbit hole, right? Like it's where the 短剧 are going. But like I don't think that that's good for the next generation. I don't think it's necessarily good for pushing, let's say, like the consciousness of the next generation or like where we are going. I think it's going to push people into this mentality that everything should be instantaneous. And, I'm going to have to pay for this so that I can create like 20 different campaign slogans in 5 minutes. And they're probably all subpar. And I think it's going to change the economy because suddenly people who were probably, I would say, like in the mid-range of like talent, I think they're going to be the ones to lose their jobs first. I think the really, really talented people, super creative, like they're protected for now. And like blue collar is super protected because robotics are expensive. But like, I don't necessarily know if this was natural optimization. Like, we have a problem. Yeah. Let's figure out a solution. I don't even know. I don't know what the problem was.
Well, I think your use of AI, your references of AI as the not having a problem but creating a solution is perfect. Right? Because no one really needs AI. So yeah, it's there is no problem.
Yeah. I also think it depends on the field, right? Like, so I think like maybe in the creative field, you're absolutely right. I agree with you. Like these like video generators, like why do we need them? What solution is that solving? It's if anything, it's just creating problems, like you're saying, right? It's pushing people out of work and it's creating something that as of now is subpar. Yeah. Like, you have technologies like deep fakes. Like why do we have deep fakes? Like why? Like, that's clearly just creating more problems, right? And so, but then like you have fields like where I think AI could really add value and solve things. It's like
medical,
medical field, right? Because it could reduce human error, maybe even in accounting and stuff like that. But then there are other fields where I feel like, it's not solving for anything, and in fact, it's creating more problems for sure.
And I think it's just it's used for capitalistic gains as opposed to solving problems, because all those other issues that we're saying that are not problems, it's basically creating solutions from a capitalistic point of view.
Yeah, they've created a product, and if there's no real need for that product, they have to invent the need for it.
Yes.
So you can buy it or you can use it. So they can either sell you it or collect your data on it.
And it cuts costs and et cetera,
or advertise on it, whatever.
Yeah, we got to sell data, guys. Like, yay. I don't know. AI is crazy to me. Like, during class, we came across something called the anatomy of AI, and it's insane. It's insane. Like, the idea that we are the consumer of the product, but we're also the free labor that goes into training the product, like Amazon Echo. What's it called? Echo? Was it called Echo? Alexa?
The speaker?
Yeah. Okay.
It's an Echo, and Alexa is who you talk to.
So this is how little I use it. Like, we're the free labor that trains it. We're also the one that has to buy it. And then we're creating the economy around it as well. And then, that's just one part of it. And we think that, the cloud's a great name. The cloud are massive buildings consuming incredible amounts of electricity and power to give us this cloud-based storage, which is just like storage rooms of terabytes. Whatever, it's bigger than that.
I mean, the cooling systems alone in these facilities.
And like the underwater cabling for all the internet connections and whatnot. And then there's also the afterlife of the AI that we don't think about. Once you throw the machine away, then what? Where does it go? Like there's so much that goes into it. It's crazy. Yeah. I've never thought of it that way. And it's insane. Like
But your idea of we are the labor, but also the users of it, it's not, this has been happening for a long time, not just AI. I mean, like look at search engines. That's how they run.
And we train CAPTCHAs all the time. It's yay. So chaos theory. Let me explain chaos theory.
Oh yeah.
What is chaos theory? I think our whole conversation has been chaos theory.
Yeah, pretty much.
I know.
Actually, a little bit, if you want to go super meta. So chaos theory is, I will give you the Google definition, and I guess it is basically what I thought. So chaos theory categorizes or states that within the apparent randomness of chaotic complex systems, there are underlying patterns, interconnection, constant feedback loops, repetition, self-similarity, fractals, and self-organization. So it's basically saying that within a seemingly random system, like the Lorenzo tractor and the weather, I guess, there are patterns that are fractal in nature that we can recognize. So chaos theory is basically saying that there's structured chaos. There's structure in chaos.
That it seems random, but it's not actually random.
Yeah, there are deterministic factors that are available for, I guess, like numerical computation, but they're random in the sense that, like I said, you can't predict the actual location of these points, and you're not going to be able to predict, let's say, like where the conversation is going to go, or like how a human is going to evolve or grow, and like as we grow, how do we develop? You can't predict that, but you can predict that you're probably gonna grow taller than when you were 5. You're probably going to, I don't know, your brain's probably gonna develop its prefrontal cortex later in life. Like these things are in a sense predictable, but I can't actually predict, like, are you gonna become a serial killer or not when you're 3. Actually, I guess they now say there is science to predict that.
Yeah, I think this goes back to the earlier.
This conversation is so chaotic. I love it.
No, but I like this kind of stuff. I like this, like
we should give it. And our introduction, I think we need to give a heads up to the listeners because it's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody.
It's definitely not for everybody.
No, but like none of our episodes are for everybody. Like we can have that disclaimer for every episode we do. No, but it is goes back to that question of like that you asked earlier. I think you asked earlier. I'm so lost. I don't even know. I don't know if I imagined that you asked this question or if you actually asked this question. Was that, do I really believe in randomness? Level. Was that a question I was asked?
Yeah. Okay. I did ask this question.
So now after understanding the definition of chaos theory, I would say, I don't think anything is actually truly random then, right? Like, for example, I can throw this bottle across the room, across the studio here, and the direction that this bottle lands on the floor would be random to us. But it's not actually random, right? Because if you could calculate like the velocity, the angle, the air friction, the air conditioner that's blowing the wind this way, like, every little thing that impacts this bottle can actually be calculated, but we just can't calculate it ourselves. And so it seems random, but it's actually not random, right?
Yeah, I guess it's just not random.
That time you said something.
I said something. I finally said something. You said something. Wait, so I want to just let's just take a little pivot here for one second.
Yes. Blood?
We'll get to that.
Please.
I just want to hear about your New York trip for a second because I haven't been back to New York in a long time.
Oh.
And so I don't have any firsthand experience, so I can only live vicariously through people that have visited recently. How was it? What was it like there?
I had too many experiences, and everybody in my cohort would agree that what happened to me was absolutely bizarre. So, the hotels lobbied against short-term rental platforms like Airbnb, basically saying that they were taking business away from them and they were ruining the hotel economy. True. So they won, and Airbnb, platforms like Airbnb, you're not allowed to rent an entire unit unless you're renting for over 30 days because it has to be a legal sublet. It cannot.
Wait, hold on, back up. You're saying on Airbnb, you're not allowed to rent an entire unit.
unless it's for over 30 nights.
And this is like a house you're talking about? Like a
Just
room?
any house, any unit, apartment, anything. You can rent for under 30 nights if you're just renting a room from somebody.
Oh, you can't rent out the whole place.
You can't rent out the whole place. And that's because hotels need to make money. So, does that make sense? Because if I can rent a unit for cheaper than I could stay at like the Marriott or something. No, now we work with Hyatt. I love Hyatt. So, if I could rent for cheaper, then I would just rent on Airbnb. But if you're telling me that I can only stay with like a roommate essentially, then I'll probably opt for the hotel.
So it's just trying to devalue the attractiveness of renting on Airbnb.
Yes, correct. So I spent lots of time looking for a unit that was, I was there for a month and a half, so I was there for longer than that. It was a beautiful property, high rise, newly built, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, great. That's where I'm going to rent. My campus for my program was in Brooklyn. So needed to be there. And then I think it was like 3 weeks in. I think it was about 3 weeks in, and I was in class, and I get this long text from the host of the Airbnb property. And she tells me that the building management has contacted her and said that I was receiving packages indicating that I have a cat on premise, and that I was requesting too many replacement keys, and then now they're requiring my immediate evacuation.
From the Airbnb that you rented?
Yes. And then so I was like, obviously, what the fuck at first? And so I called her. I was like, okay, I don't have a cat. Like, I just don't. Like, why would I? What?
But were you getting packages that would lead people to?
No, I got packages for LCD screens and some shampoo. And like some electronics from Adafruit. So no, I didn't have a cat. Unless the cat needs LCD screens that are like microcontrollers. No, never asked for a single one. And so I call her and I tell her, okay, first off, I don't have a cat. Two, I haven't asked for a single replacement key. If you can give me the proof, then we can talk about this. And then she was talking about something, saying like, oh, but the building management said this and she's not there, can't do anything, blah, blah. And then finally, she kind of let it slip that the owner said something. And suddenly I realized she was illegally subletting it to me. She didn't have the right to rent the unit to me. And so in that moment, I understood because yes, like I thought about it. I was like, I could just squat here legally, illegally, like be in a gray area and just like fucking refuse to leave essentially. But I don't want to do that either. And then she's like, oh, they're threatening her lease. And I was like, okay, fine. I guess. I guess. I didn't even have a suitcase to move out with because on this trip I'd been gone for a couple months before this. I was in France for work, and then we went to Bergen because of travel roulette, and it was like all this crazy shit. So my suitcase had gone from being a 4-wheeled suitcase to a 1.5-wheeled suitcase. So I sent it in for repair when I got to New York. So when she evicted me, I didn't even have a suitcase to pack everything in. And God bless two of my cohort classmates, but they gave me their suitcases so that I could pack up the entire apartment. And I just decided to leave. But first I ran into the bathroom and cried for a bit because I was like, how the fuck could this be happening? So obviously,
did they return your deposit and
so
give you back?
Airbnb at first refused to. They said that they were only going to give me credit, or not even credit, a coupon, but a coupon has to be used in one go. And I was like, what do you want me to do with that? And they're like, oh, we can rebook you. But the only places you can rebook me for are rooms in people's houses and the places they sent me, because to book that last minute in New York, that's unaffordable. And so they sent me these units that looked like they belonged to serial killers. And I was like, absolutely not. I told the woman on the phone, I was like, if you dare stay here, I'll go. And then she said, no. And I was on the phone with them till like 4 a.m. every single day for I think like 2 weeks actually.
But all this was on the premise of lies. So how?
Yes.
So the person that leased you or that rented the Airbnb to you was in fact herself a tenant of the place. So she was subletting it.
She was subletting it to me.
So she didn't have the right, but she was subletting it to you. And so she made up these lies about you.
Yes.
And told the building management about it.
So this is where I'm not sure.
Airbnb is on their side without any proof.
So this is where I'm not sure who who told who lies, if she told building management lies or if building management was telling her lies. I don't really know what happened, but Airbnb basically told me that legally there is no binding contract between the renter and the rentee. Finally, I did get my money back, but it went through this whole thing where she also told the platform that I refused to return her keys, which is a lie as well. And it was chaos. So that happened. And then after I got evicted from Airbnb, and then after that, so after this, I was attacked on the streets.
Attacked?
Broad daylight at noon. I think I still have to get therapy for that, but I haven't scheduled it yet. So I was walking to Starbucks trying to get a coffee, and then
This was in Manhattan?
This was in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn? Okay.
Yeah, around Dumbo, I guess. And these three big dudes, they started walking towards me, and I was on a call for work, and I wasn't quite sure if they were walking faster at me or if they were just trying to walk faster. But at one point, so I shifted to try to dodge them, and then two guys sandwiched me, and another one punched me.
What? In the face?
I think he was trying to punch me in the face, but I went like that, and he got the top of my shoulder to like my neck-ish area. And
this was in broad daylight, just during the day?
Broad daylight at noon. Uh-huh. Like on campus, essentially. And then, and then they attacked me.
What, were they trying to mug you? Or?
No. So they just wanted to attack me. And then when I didn't fall down to the ground, these two guys, the guy who was standing there, he like shoved me to the ground. And so they just kept walking. And I was so terrified that I ran into a corner behind I think like Chipotle or something. And I just like sat there and cried for a bit. And then I went back to campus and somebody looked at my face and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." And I don't know why, like just start crying, like tears wouldn't stop. And they're like, "You're not okay." And then the program director, he saw me too. And then somebody's like, "Oh, Anna got attacked." And then I try to like laugh it off, but I guess it was not funny in my mind. So I just like broke down in tears. I got like 6 emails the next day, told me I have to go to therapy. It was like, is this whole thing? But basically they told me that there's possibilities, or the possibilities for why are: one, it could be because I'm Asian. Two, there was a trend that started in New York in March, I think, of men just like randomly socking women in the face in broad daylight.
In New York?
In New York. It's like a trend. I didn't believe it, but like, or like when I scroll through this stuff, I always think like, oh, it's not going to happen to me, but no, it can. And then so there's that, which was fantastic.
What was your interpretation of it? Like after having thought about it, do you have any, do you lean one way or the other in terms of why they wanted to attack you?
Oh, they said it could also be because, so I had an NYU lanyard around my neck, and NYU spent like $500 million developing that area, but only within the last couple years. So people who were living there essentially were pushed out of their homes, even though that particular area wasn't residential, like surrounding areas got affected. So it could be 1, 2, or 3. I think they probably just wanted to punch someone that day, and then I just happened to be the one walking by myself.
How old were they around?
Probably around 30s, 40s.
Oh, not young.
No. Sergeant was surprised too by that, which I don't know why.
Because if it was young, I would think the second one, the trend. Because it's usually these kids, university, high school, that do these stupid trends of just socking people, knocking people out. I mean, that was a thing I remember a couple years ago. But they were all kids, teenagers to early 20s. And it was a TikTok thing. So it's either 1 or 3, I think.
Yeah, I really don't know.
They didn't try to steal anything
nothing.
from you? Well,
so just punched me,
let me just
pushed me.
So you got sandwiched, somebody swung at you, you kind of got hit, dodge kind of thing.
I went backwards.
And then somebody shoved you, and then they just kept walking.
Yeah, just kept walking. Didn't run, nothing. Just kept walking. And then the campus, or was it campus security or NYPD? I don't know. But the officer told me that it happened during a shift switch. So they probably planned whatever
so they probably
it was.
knew what time the shifts were switching.
And there's no cameras on the streets?
They said no, not where I got hit.
If that happened in China.
Yeah. In China, no.
If shit would be recorded.
Yes.
Well, does this change your feeling or willingness in the future about New York or to go to New York again? Like, does it affect you in that way of like having any anxiety of going back to New York?
So I was born there, but like I thought it didn't. But that night I was on campus and I think it was like 8 or 9 p.m. And one of my cohort classmates, he came up to me. He's like, "Did you eat dinner?" And I said, "No, but it's fine. Not hungry." And he was like, No. Like, "Oh, let's go get a drink. Let's get some food." And when we were walking out, I felt anxious actually. And this person was walking towards me on the street, not even like just like normally walking towards me. I don't know what the hell went through my head. I like walked behind my classmate and walked to the other side.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And I was shocked that I did that actually. And when we got to the restaurant, he even said, he was like, "Oh, he's like, you were like, I didn't want to mention this earlier, but like you're pretty anxious." And I guess so.
Yeah, it's normal. I think that's totally normal. It's expected. But I think what Justin was maybe trying to even push further in asking is, I mean, we hear stories about this kind of stuff, maybe even worse, happen all the time through news and whatnot, right? But of course, you want to think, just like you said, oh, either it's not going to happen to you, or maybe it's not as big of a thing. Maybe it's just the news. Maybe it's just you were so focused on the negative as opposed to, and maybe it's just like a 0.01% kind of instance, but it gets amplified because you're watching it or you're seeing it. But now that you've actually experienced it, obviously it's anecdotal, and it's not saying that everywhere in New York is dangerous and you're gonna get fucked up if you're Asian or not. But anecdotally, you know, do you feel that message is amplified as an Asian, as a living, born in New York from America, but living abroad for so long?
I used to think that I wanted to live in New York for a while because there is a lot going on. There's a lot of life there. A lot of people who come from very different backgrounds and look very different. But now, it's not on the top of my list. I probably still want to move to Norway. Not on top of my list anymore, but I think that America is just in a really weird place right now.
And you felt that when you were there?
I did. It's not the same.
How so?
I think everybody's operating off of like fear and like bad faith. And you can feel it. Everything's really expensive. Like Chick-fil-A for 3 people costs $64.
That I know. But when you say like everyone's operating off of fear, stuff like that, is it just a decrease in optimism? Like people are just more pessimistic? Is that?
I don't think it's pessimism. I think it's actual fear. Because even when we got there, a lot of international students are part of our cohort as well. So they did all these talks about like, oh, New York, history of New York, and like NYC 101 and things like that. And I just noticed that, the consensus is that it's not as dangerous as like, let's say the media wants to portray it, but everybody does talk about, oh, like beware, don't stand too close to the train tracks because it does happen. Like don't walk out in certain areas alone at night, especially if you're a girl. Like they do talk about all these things. And it's interesting in a way because I feel it not just in daily life, like business as well. I feel like doing business with US clients, they tend to, like there's this whole weird thing about emails. Culturally in China, you pick up the phone and you call, it's like a sign of respect. Like I put it on WeChat or whatever, and it's like I call you because I respect you. And I start the job before payment because I trust you. But we did something similar with a US-based client. Now we're good. But there was this whole misunderstanding. And they thought that we were calling so that there wasn't a paper trail. They thought that we started to corner them so that we could corner them into, like back them into a corner and force them to pay.
Like the worst intent is assumed.
Yeah. So that's like the bad faith. And I think it's
that.
interesting. So I don't know.
Do you, for this particular client, do you think that's how they would have reacted to anybody doing that? Or do you think maybe they were influenced by politics and because of where you are? You know, and this idea of like, oh, you're calling to not have a paper trail, you're trying to corner me, all this negative, like the worst case, like the negative intent.
Just get to the chase. Do you think it's because you're living in China, you're from China, or you're Chinese?
Yeah. Like, do you feel like it was like
dodging around it?
Do you feel like it was like politically motivated, like influenced in terms of their thinking, or do you think if a person from Norway did that, would they have reacted the same way?
That's a great question. I don't know. Actually, I assumed that it was just America in general being. Because I feel like America right now is being pushed to two opposite ends of extreme.
Because I ask this because I think, you know, sometimes from the American perspective, given, you know, all the stuff that they're flooded with and fed, they operate under a pretense of
skepticism,
especially when dealing with China, because especially for those that don't have much experience with China or never been here before, they think of it as the scary kind of place. And so they might assume without knowing ill intent when there is none.
Yeah. I mean, I've reached out to people globally, even though obviously as an American, I would reach out and be like, I'm from Shanghai in China, American raised. I have to put that in because I want to make sure that they know that I'm not some pienza, because that's the thing that they're fed in the West.
Yeah,
you know, the hackers, the
scammers, the spies, the whoever.
Exactly, and so I don't want the red flag to be raised. Be like, oh, you get a random email from somebody from China, even though it's job related. You know, because I'm reaching out for information or rates because I want to work with them. You know what I'm saying? Like I reached out to the studio in LA once, you know, in Europe, and I always have to say, hey, my name is Howie, you know, I'm calling from Shanghai. We have a China production, but I'm born and raised in America, and then, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I just want to make sure that there's no red flag, because I've heard stories where people have reached out and they just don't get a response.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some weird reason.
Yeah. And I'm just wondering, like, you know, in Anna's case, is it because of, you know, where she's from or where she's working from? Because if it was another American company and they were dealing with each other and they had picked up the phone and called, would they be like, oh, you're calling me because you don't want a paper trail? Like, I don't think they would assume that if it was another American company they were dealing with.
Anyways.
All right. So let's get down to the nitty gritty here. And because you mentioned something really interesting on the phone before we recorded, is that you did want to talk to us.
Yes.
About a certain subject matter.
About a certain substance.
That is so random.
About a certain substance.
Yes.
And that substance is blood. The floor is yours.
Okay. So I'll give you guys a little bit of context. For my critical experiences class, which is basically a research class, the low-tech class, everybody was assigned a random research topic, supposedly random. It doesn't feel random to me, but supposedly random research topic. And I got assigned blood. And then for my assignment, I was tasked with, I believe, interviewing or having a conversation with people about my topic. Some people who are blood experts, and then one that is, I guess, not. I guess you guys are.
We are the experts in blood,
obviously.
Oh my God. Bloody Marys. We should have had Bloody Marys.
Oh, that would have been perfect. But okay, go on.
Oh wow, we're turning it around. Okay, so I guess
just do you.
Do me. So it started with more of a sciencey thought just in terms of how the blood cells work. And then started thinking about blood in terms of culture. So Chinese people, Western people. And then I got into this path of, okay, culture, then blood in religious contexts, blood rituals, blood magic, sacrifice. So this is kind of the realm.
Blood types.
Blood types and personality. They talk about that as well. What blood type are you guys, by the way?
So I was under the assumption I've been a B positive since early 2000s, but then the last blood type I did in China for health check, I was an O.
Ah, okay.
So I don't know why my blood changed.
Did it actually change, or was your assumption just wrong?
Yeah.
No, because I had my blood taken and I had a card with my blood type and all that stuff from a clinic.
Can blood type change?
No.
No, which is weird.
You're all sorts of messed up.
Okay, so this is like a different Howie from like a different quantum realm, probably.
A different universe.
Yeah. Interesting.
It
Okay.
would- yeah, that's weird because now he has like the shaved head. Maybe he was just making up an excuse of the
Yeah.
detox. So this is a different Howie
This
than
might-
we know.
Oh my God,
From
this is
different
another.
universe that because like I would never have thought the old Howie would ever shave his head, and now you have a shaved head.
This is like
You're
a.
and different blood type. Ooh, I'm suspicious.
So there's this whole other rabbit hole, but we will not go down this rabbit hole. But this rabbit hole of like all cells in your body basically regenerate or like renew every 7 years or so. So if you're quite literally completely a new person, like are you still you?
Yeah.
So there's that. Blood and identities, another thing, culturally speaking. Blood and family, kinship, that idea, which I don't know if I subscribe to fully because I feel like blood is a great starting point, but all family has to be chosen. So, has blood ever fascinated you guys?
No,
No? Blood magic? Sacrifice?
no,
No.
Never.
no.
No. From like a cultural
I feel like we're letting
perspective.
you down.
Yeah, we're definitely letting you down. You should have picked two different people to do your project.
Like she was hoping for us to be like, blood. Oh God, I think
like
about it
had all
every
these things to
day.
say. She's like, you guys do a podcast. You guys must have all these things you can say
Oh,
about it.
God, blood.
And like the one time we are like, we have nothing to say on this podcast is like,
That's very, no. But the fact that you have nothing to say is very interesting to me because
I'm just trying to be honest with it.
Yeah. I think before this project, I had never really considered how heavily integrated blood was into our culture, our lives, and just, I just never really thought about blood that way. And so I was talking to my other friend, and she was telling, so she comes from which lineage actually? Like our grandmother or great grandmother?
Is it a question or you mean witch as in like
Witches, like Cuban witches. So
There's like a lineage.
yes, if you have witch blood, it is a thing. But the grandmother was a witch,
Okay.
practiced witchcraft. And she was telling me that blood magic is not a negative thing and that culturally it gets correlated with black magic. But blood magic is actually just something that is neutral and it only depends on how people use it. And I wish you guys were witches, but I guess you guys are not.
I just don't want you to call out our Sinfin, you know?
We just want to be. We don't want to be exposed. You know.
For witchcraft. But
Wouldn't male witches be warlocks? Right, male witches are warlocks.
I thought they were also called witches.
Oh,
though.
are they?
I don't know.
I'm no expert on this.
I'm gonna set on warlocks.
Okay, warlocks. So my topic right now that I want to explore is what can we learn about love from blood? The
Okay.
How to Love Guide by Blood.
Okay.
So I'll give you a little context on why that is. I started thinking about it from more of a biological standpoint and how stem cells, they literally have to give up their form so that their children can live. For it to become a red blood cell, the stem cell must give itself up. It will cease to exist as what it was, and it will become a red blood cell. And that's how we get blood in our bodies. The red blood cell gave up mitosis, gave up having a nucleus, so it cannot divide. Red blood cells have finite lifespans. They cannot reproduce. About 120 days. That's how long a red blood cell will live, and that's it. It gave up reproduction so that every other tissue and organ in the body can sustain itself. I think there's something to say about altruism there. I think there's something to say about unconditional love in that sense. I think there's something very beautiful about that.
Well, what you just described is you're kind of personifying a red cell. So,
am I though? Because that's literally what it's doing.
Yeah, but you have an empathetic view towards it, and I mean, at least for me, while you're talking about it, I'm personifying it. I'm gaining this empathy towards its heroic efforts and
its selfless efforts of the red blood cell. No, so as you're talking and everything you're saying, it's making me think of my son. I don't think it's just an intellectual, oh, he's my son, I should love him, therefore I love him. I think there's something deeper and intrinsic about my own blood. I'm curious whether if there is truly an intrinsic layer of love or aspect to that love versus someone who were to adopt a kid. And I wonder how much of that is just intrinsic and instinctual versus intellectual, of me just intellectualizing the fact that I need to protect my own kid, right? So I wonder how deep it actually goes. Is there a deeper intrinsic layer that we just can't control?
I think this is very interesting. How's your relationship with your parents? My relationship with my parents is very with, I guess, my nuclear blood family. So, okay, I think it's interesting that we're talking about kin and like family, because my topic, blood, actually falls under another assigned category. So we were assigned thematic cohorts, and my thematic cohort, the category was kinship. And then under kinship, I got assigned blood. So I thought that was really interesting because my relationship with my dad is not good. I would say I think my father treats me worse than you might treat just a stranger on the street. And it's strange because I wonder if what you're saying is true, that it's intrinsic, that when it is your own blood, there is some sort of connection there that maybe, like we were talking about on a quantum level, like maybe there is that connection there and that energetic draw. But then if that's true and that's actually intrinsic, then my father actually has to actively put in effort to treat me like not even like I don't exist. Like he has to put in actual effort to treat me worse than as if I don't exist. So
and what would be the implications of that?
Yeah,
so
what would be? Yeah.
To me, it's that the factor of blood. I never really thought about it. I don't think I was around that growing up. I don't think that was ever pressed upon me. So the idea of my own blood, I get it. I can see it. But to me, it's more about the parental figure, the act of loving and caring for another being. That power of love.
Well, but that's also because maybe we don't have a direct point of comparison to paint a really just dark example or thought experiment. Like, what if you had like a Sophie's Choice kind of deal? You know, like both of them are hanging over a cliff. You can only save one. I think of like the animal kingdom, right? In the animal kingdom, why do these animals like instinctively know to take care of their young and to love their young, to protect their young, to feed their young? Are they just intellectualizing the fact that, oh, I'm a father, I'm a parent now, I should protect these kids? Or is there just intuitive through evolution, through your DNA, passed down to just instinctually do it without even thinking about it?
So twofold question about blood. Your pets obviously do not share your blood. I'm curious, one, if you think that your pets, would you say that they are family? And then why? Two, your wives, you guys don't share the same blood. But what about that? Do you feel closer to your, let's say, wife than to somebody else who does share your blood? And then the third question, which we can talk about a little bit after this, but I would be curious about whether or not do you think that the way that we view blood or understand blood has also been maybe led this way from like ancient feudalism, or when we started becoming more settled and not nomadic, and how we had to start thinking about heritage and religion and lineage and passing down land.
Yeah.
So first question, pets.
Our pets, yeah. My pet, I would call her the daughter.
You feel that love?
Of course. Yeah.
But it's nowhere near the love you have for your sons, or is it?
Yeah, but that's the joke, right? So my wife and I joke about this. She says that ever since the kids came out, I've neglected my daughter. Because we used to treat the dog like literally it was our child, spoiled the shit out of her, but all my attention's on the kids now. Meanwhile, my wife, she still has that same love to the dog, where literally she'll cry when she sees the dog that we haven't seen her for a while because she lives with the mother-in-law now, and things like that. And she's like, to her, she's still the daughter. There's
but think about this though. The fact that she's not living with you anymore and you chose for the dog to live with the mother-in-law for whatever reason already draws a very clear line of distinction that you are not on the same level of family as like your human family.
Sure. I think there's levels to this that goes beyond blood. This is also an animal versus a human. This is different. This is also something that the kids were in her stomach growing from this into two human beings, as opposed to an adopted animal, right, that we designated as our daughter. Yeah.
So what about the wives then? Your child versus your wife.
If I had to save one from like the cliff.
Actually, sure, because there is a psychological experiment that goes into this, and I can't remember who was the psychologist who ran this experiment, but the results showed that men were more likely to save the wife and women were more likely to save the child. So throwing that out there.
I could totally see that. I mean, they literally like goes from like their body giving birth out of like, I mean, and if my wife chose my son over me to save, I would not blame her one bit. It would not be something that would upset me.
But what about from your perspective? Because I think that's a little bit more interesting because you did not carry the child.
True.
So these are both technically humans who came into your life. One shares your blood, one does not.
Yes.
They both came into your life.
Okay. So what's the question then?
Who would you save?
Answer it.
I would just sacrifice myself and have
That's not one of the options. You're not furthering my blood conversation. So this, I suddenly remember there was a little bit of context to the experiment. They were talking also about in a medical context. So if in childbirth there was a complication and the doctor came and said you had to save one, you can either save the mother or you can save the child. And then so if the mom was conscious enough, she would always want to save the child. But the husband usually would save the wife. But that's also, there's something about that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, where the blood is there.
That changes things.
Yeah, but you haven't formed that connection
Exactly.
yet.
You haven't formed that connection yet.
Because you're not the mom, you're not carrying the child.
True.
But the blood exists already.
True. The level of, let's say, love I have for my son today is not the same as when he was first born. And it's not to say I didn't love him when he was first born, of course. So, like, oh, this new life, of course, I'm loving him. But it was, I feel like at that point, it was more an intellectual love. Like, oh, here's this new thing in my life. I know I'm his father. I know he's my son. I'm going to love you. And of course, I want to love you. Now, through time spent and, raising him for the last 2 years and interacting with him now.
Memories getting built, experiences shared.
It's no longer, this is why I bifurcated it before in terms of intellectual versus like intrinsic and instinctual. Because now it's like an uncontrollable love. I'm just wondering like why, like what that part is. Maybe we can call that bonding, right? Imprinting or whatever it is, mutual imprinting. Like whatever that is, does it have anything to do with blood per se? Maybe not.
Yeah, now I'm curious.
And from the example of like men choosing like to save the wife, I can see why, because up to that point, you have spent much more intimate time with the wife than you had with this new kid that maybe hasn't, like, is just being born, right? There's that as well. But also, if we were to look at this purely through a cold, calculating, emotionless lens, then you would save the wife because you can have another child with the wife.
But it wouldn't be the same child.
It wouldn't be the same child, but it would be another child.
So
So you would still be procreating, you would still be carrying your line, extending, like prolonging your lineage and all that stuff just from, a level of procreation and life, and like bloodline.
But the idea of what you just said of it's not the same kid, you don't have a measurement to that.
You don't.
Because you didn't know the kid to begin with because they were just born.
So to a guy who is logical, it wouldn't matter.
So you would also save the wife. Your wife, not the wife. Your wife.
No, yeah, of course. Yeah. Because the fact
But then is blood, then does that mean that blood is not? So okay. Throughout this conversation, the very beginning, I was like, oh wow, from what you guys were saying, like my father actually had to put in active effort to not love me. I actually don't think he loves me. And I don't mean that in like a sad, oh my God, like pity me way. I once did, but not anymore. But I genuinely I don't necessarily think that he loves me. But from this part of the conversation, now I'm wondering if it's not that he has to put in active effort, if it's actually just quite literally because blood is not enough and blood is just blood. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think it has nothing to do with you. It has 100% everything to do with him and whatever he went through that formed his identity and his personality and his value system. So that, I don't know the man. I know nothing about him. I can only relate to, let's say, my father, who has a certain type of personality and value system. And I can understand why he is who he is. And that has nothing to do with me. Now, in terms of your question with blood, I don't think it has anything to do with blood.
So you think blood is completely arbitrary?
For me and for my family.
So, segue, identity. What do you guys identify as? Culturally, ethnically?
Chinese,
yeah.
Chinese. A specific type of Chinese?
Nope.
No, I never thought about really
like,
the deeper layer of that. No, just Chinese.
Like like Han or whatever.
Yeah,
yeah. But that the whole Han thing.
I learned that when I moved here.
Yeah, it only came to my mind when I moved here, and then people started using that.
Taiwanese?
No.
Hong Kong? No.
No, but see, this is where it gets weird because that's like political and like that's like just man-made borders, right? If we're talking about blood, it's Chinese. There is only Chinese in terms of that conversation that we're talking. Obviously, there's different types, but like we're talking about ethnically Chinese, right? Because like in terms of identity, like what if you're not ethnically Chinese, but you grew up in China, you have a Chinese passport, Chinese ID, you identify as being Chinese, just like people
identify as American.
Who identify as American, right? Like so that's like the man-made level versus like the blood level, I guess. I don't know.
But you think we prioritize the man-made level? Like, would you introduce yourself as Chinese, American Chinese?
Me? No, I just think of myself as Chinese. Because naturally when I think of it, I just think of from the ethnic perspective. Yeah.
How do you introduce yourself?
Yeah, even in America, I would say I was Chinese.
Yeah.
Because even though obviously born in America, you would say American, but growing up, you always had that multi-layered question. Oh, what are you? American. No, what are you?
Like,
Chinese.
Where are you from? Even though they know I'm like grew up in New Jersey, but like, no, where are you from? Right? Like, I'm Chinese. Yeah. That was maybe a cultural thing.
Yeah,
in America,
I think so.
Maybe.
Exactly.
So it sounds like there's a lot of constructs in blood, actually. Coming back to this idea of kin, I guess. Do you? I didn't ask this directly, but like, do you think that if you have a child who is not of your bloodline, but you also raised and spent that much time with? Coming back to this question now, after we've talked a little bit, like, do you think that you would be able to love them the same?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what if your blood child was a serial killer? Would you ask where the shovel is? Or would you do what's legally expected?
Like, would I turn them in?
Yeah.
Or would I help them conceal their...
Yes. Like, how far would you go for blood?
But then also maybe like considering the nature of the crimes, like, I don't know, like that would have to factor in.
I've always been criticized by my loved ones that I am I'm always standing on the other person's perspective. I'm never sticking up for them.
So he'd be a rat. He'd be a snitch.
No, honestly, I'm just working out right now. I'm working out right now. Because I always want to bring out fairness. When people around me are always thinking they're correct and right, and I'm surrounded by people like that, I'm always trying to, for better or for worse, trying to put them in their place. Be like, dude, you're not always right? You should think about the other side. You should always think about your actions and how that affects other people. And so then I always get criticized. Like, dude, this goes beyond that. You're my husband. You're my son. You're my whatever, my brother, whatever it is. You should be on my side no matter what, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, the stakes are much lower for a lot of the conversations that we have, but I'm always trying to look at many sides because I need to be fair. And now, when I'm saying that I'm 100% fair, no, but I lean towards trying to be fair and trying to be more aware of other people's feelings or things like that through the actions I take. So it's hard. I think if I had a son and he was just like an angel and our relationship was so good and all of a sudden it's a surprise. Like I had no idea that he killed, like it was a serial killer.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't think that that could ever happen if I had a real good relationship with him. Secondly, if by chance that were to happen, fuck man, I would probably, I don't know. I would probably turn him in.
Wow.
It's not so black and white because I would have to know the circumstance. I would have to have conversations with them. I would have to understand the whole situation. If he's literally just walking up and down the street, just like stabbing people for no apparent reason, shooting people and whatever, chopping people's heads off, he's fucking going to jail. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But if it's something like, I don't know, it's more gray or something like that, I need to know. And then I will use myself as the judge to figure out.
Yeah, you would really need to understand the true nature of the crime.
You're telling me your son just going around stabbing people and just killing people.
I didn't say that.
Yo, I got you.
Actually, no.
Baba's got you. Baba's going to protect you. Come on,
I would like to know, what if?
Yeah.
What if he's actually a serial killer?
You're like, Baba's got you.
Yeah,
like
what if?
Snitch of a father.
What if he's like actually just out there and like, I don't know, every full moon has to like
raping
murder
women
a child
and killing them and come on.
Okay,
murder a woman or
clearly there's a limit, okay, in terms of like the evilness of the whole thing, right? And so, but in my mind, it's more of like, like Dexter. Yeah, something like that. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
Like, I prefer you not to do it, but I'm not.
Just like, can I join in? You need some help? Baba's got you.
Yeah, no, like who knows what I would actually do in the moment, and obviously, like we said, it would really depend on the nature of his crimes and all that stuff, right? And so, but as of now, like I just can't imagine myself ever betraying him. And so it's that idea that prevents me from saying right now, yeah, I'm going to turn him in.
He has betrayed you by committing all those crimes.
Sure. And then, so only when we get to that bridge do we really know. It's just as of now, I can't be like Howie talking on a podcast preemptively when he's still just 2 years old. Be like, yeah, no, I'm going to turn him in. Oh, I'm for sure going to turn him in. I'd rather err on the side of like protecting him and then maybe flip-flopping on that decision later, then being like, no, my default setting is to turn him in first and betray him. And I know I'm framing it in a way that's a little unfair, but it's just how I'm thinking about it.
Like, how much does blood matter, I guess? Like, I've been thinking about this. Like, how much does blood matter? I really don't know. I don't know, guys.
I know that if you need blood transfusion, immediate help is directly from your family.
Yeah, because it has to be matched, a bit compatible, right?
Yeah, so in terms of the importance of blood, and in terms of the familial bond through blood, I can see that.
Yeah. So, I mean, we do know for a fact that the body deems it as critically important.
Yep.
Not only just for the obvious reasons, but just like you said, for organ donations. Like if you don't have the right blood type, the body rejects it. Mm-hmm. So there's something to that.
Yeah.
The body naturally knows to reject blood that's incompatible.
Mm-hmm. There's also something else that scientifically is proven, that you tend to be more attracted to people that look like your family or your parents or what, to yourself or in some way or whatever. Okay. That's why a lot of times
夫妻恋.
夫妻恋, right?
Or don't they say that like sometimes like women who live together for a long time,
their periods sync.
Yeah, they period sync. The menstrual cycle sync up.
That's true.
It's
actually.
like what the hell is that about?
Yeah, what's that?
That's
about?
Crazy, right?
I think that's for reproduction, so that like you can't, when somebody else is in a fertile period of being able to have this wonderful mating experience,
you don't be left out.
Yeah, you're not left out.
What?
You're like, yo, I'm fertile too,
Yeah.
yo.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
No, but like, how does the body
literally.
just automatically know to do that, though? That's crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, how does the body, number one, know that the
Google
other
this.
person is going through, like...
And who's leading it? Are they both kind of converging towards a middle date?
But how is it even communicated through the bodies?
But
like,
even beyond that, is that... Who's the alpha?
I need to Google this. There are scientific studies around it, but I don't think there's a proven... Honestly, I think it's so interesting because like the cycle of a normal period is supposed to be 28 days, which is basically the lunar cycle. And like, what does that have to do with the moon? It's just, it's so weird. I don't really understand.
But maybe it doesn't have anything to do with the moon. It was just, once again, invented using lingo such as the moon or the lunar cycle to relate it to your period and menstruation.
It's called the McClintock effect, but I don't think there's necessarily I think the most interesting thing here is this idea that blood is actually this social construct that we've kind of created to make us all feel a little bit more connected and to derive meaning. So again, it's like mathematics. It is a linguistic formulation, or could be a linguistic sort of based formulation of how we wanted to perceive meaning.
Maybe it bonds and connects all of humanity. It's the one thing we all share. And at some point in history, that blood came from the same ancestors. It was the same bloodline. If you traced it all the way back, we all came from the same original bloodlines. And that's still in us, in our DNA, in there. Percentage of it is still in all of us. No matter where we are or where we're living, no matter what ethnic group we belong to, no matter what country we belong to. And so maybe we just weren't looking at it holistically enough to understand that we are continuing a bloodline that all came from the same original bloodline at one point in time, and we are all bonded by that.
So we're all blood brothers and blood sisters.
Yeah.
Cheers.
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 And that was Anna. I'm Justin.
I'm Howie.
Be good. Be well. Peace.
As the sun will see